NKC ART.
All right, so this is the middle of your paper. We're gonna go up from the middle a little bit to start his head, and we're gonna leave some space at the top for some little ears on top of his head. The first thing I want you to do is I want you to draw a nice big rectangle for your robot's head, kind of like I'm doing. Once you have your rectangle done, you can go ahead and add some triangles on the top for his little ears or antennas that stick up. I'm going to add some upside down triangles. So I'm going to start with the bottom of the triangle and then draw it to a point on his head. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to start with the bottom of my triangle and draw it down to a point right on top of his head. Then I'm going to go ahead and add some eyes to my robot, like this. And then with two more smaller circles, I'm going to add his little pupils in the middle. And then I'm going to add a couple of eyelashes, just some straight lines for eyelashes on your robot. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to add like a long, skinny rectangle for our robot's mouth. So his head should look a lot like this. On the sides of his head right here, we're going to do some short, fat, like kind of like squares, almost like rectangles on the side of his head, right here. And then we're going to make some rectangles going the opposite direction, some skinny rectangles, almost like little knobs on the side of our robot's head. And if you mess up, don't forget, you can just erase and go back and try it again. So his head should look a lot like this, and I have all this room down here for his body. The next thing I'm going to do is add like a short little square right here for our robot's neck. And then for our robot's body, we're going to put like a big square right here in the middle of our paper. And I want it to be about the same size of his head. So my square should start about where his head ends, right here, and go across like this. And then you can go down with your square and across and back down. It's okay if your square isn't exactly the same size of his head. Just do the best you can. The next thing I'm going to do is add some buttons onto my robot. You know, like buttons to turn him on, buttons to turn him off, maybe buttons to make him go faster or slower. And then like a little door so we can get inside of our robot to fix him whenever we need to. So I put a nice rectangle right here in the middle of his body, like a little door. Now we're going to add some arms to our robot. So the next thing we're going to do is, it's going to be kind of a crooked rectangle. It's going to come out from his body right here like this. So I'm going to add like a skinny rectangle that kind of disappears into his arm right there. And on the ends of my rectangle, I'm just going to add a nice triangle for his hands. So he's got his arms, his body, his head. The next thing I'm going to do, the last thing I'm going to do is add some legs for our robot. So on the bottom, I'm going to add a few rectangles for his legs. And it kind of just depends on how much room you have on the bottom of your paper when you're done making your robot and how long his legs can be. And then at the very bottom of his legs, I'm going to add two more rectangles that kind of stick out so where they kind of look like feet. And then after I'm done drawing my robot, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take out my black marker and then trace the outline of my robot. So we're going to go back and trace over the lines. We're not coloring it with our black marker. So whenever you're done with your robot, you're just going to go ahead and trace him. Oops, I got off the lines a little bit. That's okay. You can always go back with your pencil and erase the lines if you mess up a little bit. No harm there. So I'm going to go back and trace my robot with my black Sharpie or my black marker. Once you've traced your whole robot in black, all the lines, we're going to use markers to go back and color in our robot. When you color in your robot, you can use any color marker that you want to. Your robot might not be the same color as other people's, that's okay. So when you're done tracing, go ahead and get your markers out and you can go back and color in your robot. I look forward to seeing your art.